I'm all for green smoothies and seed cycling. I've done it. I love it. But if you have PMS or full-blown PMDD, these things just aren't going to cut it. Especially if your brain chemistry is changing throughout the month or your blood sugar is crashing, making you rage text your spouse before your period. The old advice for biohacking your cycle is kind of like the Instagram version of hormone balance or like a glow up for your Pinterest board. It's beautiful, it's aesthetically pleasing, but it's not for real women with real mood swings or chronic fatigue. So what does it actually mean to biohack your cycle in the new age? It doesn't mean that you need to take 73 supplements like Brian Johnson, or that you need to add like 18 things to your to-do list when you already feel like you're drowning. It means understanding what's actually happening both in your body and your brain, particularly in the luteal phase, and giving yourself the right kind of support at the right time. So in this video, I'm breaking down why the glow up hormone advice just no longer is cutting it and what you can actually do instead to support your mood and energy throughout your cycle. Hi, I'm Jess. I'm a clinical nutritionist, and today I really want to talk about trends regarding biohacking the menstrual cycle that seem like hormone advice, but in reality, they're kind of more just like vague wellness trends dressed up in a hormone outfit. So today we're going to specifically look at nutrition when it comes to biohacking your cycle. We're going to look at symptom tracking versus biofeedback with actual devices, and then we're also going to dive into supplements. So let's do this. Let's talk about nutrition and exercise really quickly. You've probably heard things like eat more leafy greens, try seed cycling, do a different workout every single week of your cycle. And yeah, some of these things are technically healthy. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a nutritionist. I tell people to eat more leafy greens all the time. But I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that doing any of those things is going to rebalance my neurotransmitters or stabilize my mood in the luteal phase. The luteal phase, by the way, is the second half of your cycle where most women kind of start spiraling downwards. So if serotonin is crashing, your nervous system is overstimulated, or your blood sugar is all over the place, eating carrots, which I think was a hormone trend I missed last year, isn't going to pull you out of that place. The distinction that I want to make here is that it's not about this super clean, restrictive eating, almost detoxy kind of way that I lovingly refer to as bird eating wellness girl vibes. It's about understanding that the luteal phase is biochemically different, and what we often need is more of certain things, not less. So from a nutritional standpoint, we need more protein because amino acids help support serotonin and dopamine. We need more calories, sometimes more carbs. If our mood is crashing, we actually have a higher caloric need during the second half of the cycle. But we also need to keep our blood sugar balanced because dysregulated blood sugar is actually a huge cause of mood swings and energy crashes. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the next section. But when it comes to exercise, I really do love where the cycle-seeking workouts came from. I believe we are different every week as women. And it would be amazing to live in a world where we could change our entire routine every single week, but that's just not how real life or exercise schedules work. So from a biohacking standpoint, what makes the most difference for exercise is recognizing that pushing yourself at certain times in your cycle, mainly the luteal phase, can sometimes make your symptoms worse, not better. And this might be a time where you give yourself permission to do less strategically. So if you're wearing something like an Oura Ring or the Apple Watch or anything that tracks HRV, you can actually see when your stress is building up, when your recovery time isn't good, and that can keep you from pushing through at a certain time where it may not be the best. So these are the kind of tools that give you real feedback about your body, and that's what we're going to be talking about next. Hi, it's Jess. I'm interrupting this video to let you know that we're going to be launching a live round of the Mood Balance Method in just a few weeks. If you're not familiar with MBM, it's my 3-step nutrition system to stabilize your mood across your cycle. But for this beta round, you're going to get live support from me, which I've never done before. It's an amazing deal. Tap the link in the video description to learn more. Okay, symptom tracking versus biofeedback. Let's talk about tracking and what women in functional medicine are doing now and what I work on with most women. So traditional symptom tracking normally looks like you download a period app and you tap a few mood icons like tired, bloated, irritable. Maybe you get a push notification that says you might feel a little off today, or your boyfriend gets one, which is super helpful. And while that can be a good starting point, it still is pretty vague, and it doesn't really tell you what's causing your symptoms or what to do about it. So I want to acknowledge that some of the tools that I'm about to talk about can sound a little extra, wearing sensors, tracking your hormones, looking at charts. But here's the thing, biofeedback actually saves you time. Because instead of guessing what's going on with your body and trying random protocols or things that may not land, you get clear, objective information and data that tells you exactly what's going on with you. So one of the tools that I love is a CGM, or what is a continuous glucose monitor. You're probably familiar with this. You wear it on the back here of your arm. I'll show an example here. And these devices have increasingly become much more accessible for people to use. And they're one of the top things that I work on with clients and patients all of the time. And what a lot of people don't know is that women actually become more insulin resistant in the second half of your cycle. What does that mean? It means that you're more likely to have blood sugar problems. So you're more likely to have blood sugar surges and crashes or overall blood sugar dysregulation in your luteal phase. And that could be one reason why your PMS just feels more intense, is that your brain and body are much more sensitive to these drops and fluctuations at this time. So a personal example of this is I've tracked my symptoms and my cycle while wearing a CGM across multiple months. And there are certain things that I can get away with in the follicular phase. So potentially eating more carbs, fasting for longer periods, that I cannot get away with in the luteal phase. And seeing that data in real time completely changed the way that I structured my meals and snacks and even workouts across my cycle. Another tool that I absolutely love is the Mira fertility tracker, which was initially meant to help women with fertility, but this actually gives you a snapshot into your hormone levels every single day when you test it and throughout the month. So it's not just estimated based on a calendar. And what's really cool is how these two tools can work together. For example, if you have PCOS, blood sugar can have a huge impact on ovulation. So if you're tracking your blood sugar and your hormones, you can actually see how one is impacting the other in real time. So again, this isn't about doing more. It's about getting better information so you can stop throwing spaghetti at the wall and start making decisions that actually support your mood and hormone and energy when it matters the most. And that brings me to the last piece, which is how we approach supplements. Okay, so supplements. There is always some kind of like trending supplement on Instagram or even in the functional medicine space that everyone's taking that's gonna cure all their ailments. So it's very common. It's very easy to get sucked into. So it might be a particular performance supplement. It might be something like a grains powder, not talking about you specifically, AG1, that everyone seems to be promoting and getting on the bandwagon for. And you're like, oh my God, is this finally going to be the thing that fixes my cycle or regrows my hair or gives me better energy? and on and on and on. And listen, I know because I get sucked into it too sometimes, and I really have to look at something, like look at the ingredients and basically reason with myself and go, Jess, like this doesn't have anything in it that you're, one, maybe not already taking, or two, doesn't have the same benefits as like a multivitamin or prenatal of some kind. So the point is a lot of these things aren't super specific in what they're targeting. And when it comes to biohacking, we want to get very, very specific. So instead of just taking what's trending, we want to start by understanding, once again, what's happening in our bodies and where we really need to spend the most energy. A few examples of this. So if you're someone who really struggles with PMS or PMDD, you want to start with understanding your luteal phase and how your brain chemistry is actually shifting during that time. That's where serotonin, dopamine, and GABA, and even cortisol regulation comes into play. Versus if you're someone with PCOS, your route that you might want to focus on may be more metabolic. So you'll need to understand how your hormones and your blood sugar are connected and how to actually stabilize that whole system. So these are two completely different root causes and require different types of support. One is more metabolic, one is more neurotransmitter and brain chemistry. So yes, supplements can be helpful. I love them, I take them, but throwing things at your symptoms because they're popular isn't a strategy. And in my opinion, taking a greens powder isn't going to regulate ovulation or support your serotonin pathway during the luteal phase. So to bring it all together again, the new way of biohacking your cycle is not about doing more. It's about getting specific. It's about understanding what your brain and body really need throughout your cycle and learning how to support that with strategy, not guesswork. And yeah, this takes a little bit more time and intention up front, but it saves you so much more time and energy and frustration in the long run. And this is actually exactly what I teach inside of my program, the Mood Balance Method. So if you're someone who deals with PMS, PMDD, and mood symptoms are part of your main complaint, then this is totally for you. We also go over how to utilize all of those resources we talked about in this video, like the actual tracking devices, whether it's the CGM, hormone tracker, etc. So it's a step-by-step system that helps you integrate everything that we talked about today, but more importantly, how to personalize everything based upon what your brain and body really need. So if you want to learn more about the Mood Balance Method, check out the link directly below this video. And you can also check out this video up here where I talk about PMDD and this method in a little bit more detail. So hopefully I'll see you in that one.